The internet has changed our world for the better in ways that most other technologies could never do. We are now connected with family and faraway friends across the globe. We can look up silly videos of cats and dancing strangers on TikTok. We can post multiple pictures a day and have people around the world validate us on our social media. However, saying that, there are some incredibly dark corners of the internet that you never want to stray to. Even the most hardened explorers would never dare stray to some of these places. So saying that, today on Top 5 Scary Videos, I'm going to be counting down our list of the top 5 scariest corners of the internet. Before we begin though, be sure to stick around until the end of the video where I'll be responding to some of your comments. And with that, let's jump in. Coming in at number 5, Edda Room. Holding the title of the creepiest person on YouTube is a big feat, especially considering YouTube is filled with all sorts of creepy people and nightmares that will haunt you while you sleep. However, there's someone out there on the platform that fits the entire description. His name is Edward McPhee, also known as Edda Room. Now, when you first look at the channel, it just seems like some regular old man trying his best to scare children. However, if you take a look at some of his videos, you will discover some of the creepiest things you are ever going to watch on the internet. Now, some of the videos are outright creepy, others are comical, but it's once you learn the dark history of this man that things become truly terrifying. What may look like a video of just an old guy dancing to Pretty Woman, things get disturbing once you discover he was imprisoned for sexual battery and ultimately died in jail. However, his legacy lives on through his horrifically creepy videos that will most definitely keep you up tonight. Coming in at number 4, YouTuber records their neighbor 7,000 times. A channel by the name of This, which is simply Angry Neighbor spelled backwards, is a channel created by a person who was seemingly fed up with their noisy neighbors next door, so he/she decided they would record them and post the audio clips online for all to listen to. Now, it perhaps doesn't sound that crazy. The reasoning could be anything. Maybe they couldn't get the authorities to act, so they took matters into their own hands and got the evidence they needed. However, this is where things got a little odd. They didn't just record 1 or 2 noisy parties. No, instead they recorded over 7,400 clips of the noisy neighbors. Yep, you heard me correctly, 7,400. However, what's odd about the entire thing is that most of these audio clips are completely innocuous. The sounds of people calmly talking or simply laughing. Other clips are just the sounds of faint conversations happening. Take a listen. This instead means that the uploader is recording voices only they can hear, considering the noises we hear are just the standard sounds of people living their day-to-day lives. The reason this is so creepy is simply because we have no idea what's going on and we likely never will know. One audio recording that was uploaded is about drums and construction, which does have a little noise. Around halfway through the video there are 2 bangs that come from the neighbors, we assume anyway. However, saying that the loudest noise in the video is sounds of crickets, as well as the sound of cracking twigs as though someone is sneaking around on another person's property and attempting to remain hidden. However, the creepiest part happens around 3 minutes 28 seconds when you can clearly hear children's feet running past the recorder, meaning they either planted the recorder in the home or they are crouching in the bushes spying on children. It's all very concerning and bizarre. Coming in at number 3, RealTime death counter. Now, this website is exactly how it sounds. It is a real-time death counter across the entire world. With over 7 billion people in the world, it is difficult to quantify exactly how many people die at any given moment. Now, it's not because we don't have the technology to keep track, it's simply because death isn't the most noteworthy thing to keep track of, sadly because it happens so often. Now, Bradley On decided to create a real-time simulation of all the deaths happening across the globe at any given moment. It's incredibly accurate too, as it's based on numbers taken from every single country. Now, this is of course incredibly upsetting and not something that is easy to look at considering how many red dots pop up every single second on the site. But if you're ever in the mood for a visual representation of the fragility of life, this is the place to go. Certainly keeps you grounded and thankful for the time you have on this planet. Time is fleeting, make sure you live it up while you can. Coming in at number 2, plane crash info. Most people have a morbid fascination with death. It's the reason why we all crane our necks when we pass a car crash, or our ears perk when we hear a siren. We're interested for some very bizarre reason, so when a plane goes down, we are all left in utter disbelief, but at the same time are intrigued to learn of all the details as to what went down. As we know, advancements in aviation technology have progressed to the point that we need not worry when we board a plane about it going down. Each and every year, fewer and fewer people pass away from aviation accidents, so much so that when it happens, it shocks the entire world. Think Kobe Bryant. So saying that crashes still happen, though they may show up just as numbers to us, people still pass away. Now there is a real website that tracks all of these aviation accidents, specifically what goes on right before the plane crashes. The website is called Plane Crash Info. It's a regularly updated database of all plane crashes in history, with detailed info of what exactly happened and why the plane went down. It's of course incredibly heartbreaking and unsettling to read about, considering these aren't just numbers, these are people's lives that were lost. Not to mention, there is a section on the site called Last Words, which are audio clips from the cockpit voice recorder just moments before the crash. Now the site does have legitimately good intentions as it tries to document plane crashes for the sake of record keeping. That still doesn't stop it from being disturbing and saddening to read about though. And finally, coming in at number 1, become a horse. Okay, I understand that life can be challenging. We're born, we work, we pay taxes, then we move on. Okay, we die. It doesn't seem fair now, does it? However, there are people out there in the world that want to mix things up. They want a new experience and not necessarily a human experience. No, they want to be a horse. Yes, you heard me correctly. A horse. They want to eat grass and graze in peace. What's wrong with that? However, there is a difference between wanting to be something and actually getting experimental surgery, Tusk style, to make it happen. According to the creator of If Wishes Were Horse, many people out there in the world have an aching desire to abandon their hands for hoofs and escape the complexities of human existence. Just listen to this excerpt from the site. I quote, "The horse's sexual appeal should be mentioned too. Not for nothing do we flatter or tease each other with terms like stud, stallion or filly. Many find the notion of becoming a horse quite erotic, but for most the notion of transforming into a horse or any other animal is a plea for escape from our increasingly complex lives." Now there are real people out there that are carefully planning their human to horse transition. I quote, "Feet, tail and ears especially can cause confusing sensations. All will be emitting different signals to those received as a human. Phantom finger syndrome is common but quickly fades as the mind acclimatizes. Now it is all good and well wearing hoofs and fake ears. What is truly crossing the line is when experimental surgery comes into play. I quote, "Science here and now could turn you into a horse. I mean that. Skeletons can be altered, skin and hair can be grafted, prosthetics can be designed. Genetic mapping is only just beginning to illuminate super healing properties latent within our bodies. You might only be able to become a cosmetic copy and you might have to put up with being a very small horse. But it is possible." Well, there we have it. Do you guys agree with our list? Were there any scary corners of the internet that we missed? Leave us all your thoughts and feelings in the comments down below and perhaps we can do a part 2. Before I go though, I just want to respond to a few comments on one of our last videos. Top 5 scariest mad scientists in horror movies. Wingy158 said, "Imagine Lucy as a mad scientist." Goodness. Nah. I failed science twice, so the fact that you could consider me being a scientist, respect. Piper Rock said, "I love the way Lucy says perfect. I would love to hear her say perfectly perfect perfection 3 times. Perfectly perfect perfection, perfectly perfect perfection, perfectly perfect perfection." Ha. Did it. First time. Malkaya said, "A lot of times I just get stuck watching Lucy's nose." You're very welcome. It's a very English nose and it sticks up. Alistair Crown said, "Herbert West for the next list of mad scientists." You all agreed on that, Herbert West. I'm very sorry that I did not include him. Ismail Myatt said, "Hey Lucy, missing you on BTS." I know. Sadly for those that watch me on Beyond the Screen, I'm not going to be hosting that often on Beyond the Screen anymore. I'm very busy. But I'll be back here and there. And on that note, if you haven't already, be sure to give this video a big thumbs up, subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss another scary vid. And until next time, see you later. If you take a look at any of his videos, you will discover his videos as... However, if you take a look at some of his videos, you will discover some of the creepiest things you have... Around halfway through the video, there are 2 bands that... As we know, advancements in aviation technology have progressed to the point that Phantom finger syndrome is common but quickly fades as the mind Now it is all good and well wearing hooves and fake ears. What is truly crossing the line though is what... Perfectly perfect perfection, perfectly perfect perfection, perfectly perfect perfection. Stroke. I'm gonna try one more time. Perfectly perfect perfection. Perfectly perfect perfection. Perfectly perfect perfection. Ha. Did it. First time.